Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back. So last episode 4, we worked on getting the timing cover modified to fit over the double roller timing chain and the oil pump. We also worked on painting a bunch of stuff with the wrinkle black paint to get it to match, and we worked on getting the direct port nitrous kit mocked up. This week we're going to get the balancer installed, the electric water pump installed. We're going to work on finishing up the nitrous kit. We're also going to tidy up some odds and ends like the knock sensors, the bleed tubes, and stuff like that. So go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy.
So I installed the balancer and I forgot to hit record. So I'll describe it. Instead of having to take it back out, I'll just describe how to put it on. It's pretty simple. You just install a Woodruff key. I got this from Summit. It's part number 839009. Just put it in the keyway of the crank, line up your balancer, and then you're going to use the installer, which this one I got from Summit. You screw it in all the way down, and then you hold this end with the wrench, you hold this end with another wrench, and then you just spin it on. And as you spin it on, this part pushes the pulley, the balancer, onto the base of the crank, and you keep going until you stop. Until it stops. And then when you pull that off, you take your old crank bolt and you run it down to 240 foot-pounds, and that ensures that the balancer is completely seated on. Then you pull the old bolt out and you install a new bolt if you choose. They're torque to yield, so you should, but you install the new bolt and you run that down to 36 foot-pounds and then another 140 degrees after that. And then that's installed. So we don't have a centering tool for the front cover, so it's still loose. So we're going to use the balancer to center the cover. But as you notice, it can still rotate clockwise and counterclockwise. So what I do is, I went to Ace Hardware and I got a couple of square magnets. They were $1.59 or something like that, really cheap. And I just put it on the bottom of the block where the front cover sits on them, and that'll keep it nice and flush, level on both sides, and this will keep it centered. Once you do that, then you can run your 10mm bolts for the front cover in, and those go to 18 foot-pounds. So I run them down basically hand tight. And it goes to 18 foot-pounds. Just like that. So now we have the balancer on, we have the front cover on. Now we're gonna put on the water pump. Okay, so we're gonna be installing the Mazier water pump. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think it's right. Black water pump. Boom, right there. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put a rag. We're going to put some sealant on the block. So you're going to put the sealant on the block, sealant on this side of the pump, put your gaskets on. All right, these are going to go to 22 foot-pounds. All right, so water pump's on. We'll wrap the wiring later. Just get it out of the way for now. All right. All right, so if you haven't noticed, in the other videos I talked about painting the heads black, but we went ahead and ended up painting them anyway just because I thought it looked a lot better. And we also did the valve covers too, so we're gonna throw the valve covers on real quick just to get this part covered up. Make sure you have valve cover gaskets on there. And these are all going to 106 inch-pounds. I just do a little back and forth pattern. Here, 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 here. Just basically walk your way out from the center. Okay, so we're doing a coolant bleed hose on this. We were gonna go with a different product, but the different product basically just capped the two back ones and ran this one to here and didn't let it bleed out. And I didn't like how it looked, so and how it worked. So we're gonna go ahead and use the Trick Flow from, I got this one from Summit Racing. You can pause it for the part number if you need it. But this Trick Flow kit's really nice. It has the hard lines, the AN fittings, and then hose that you can cut to length. So I've already put it together. So this is the base, and then you get 290-degree elbows, and then you get a T-fitting, so you can run this to a bleed point wherever you want. You can drill and tap your water pump, or you can run it someplace else. And then you get another connector that runs the hose inside. So we're just gonna mount it like that. So you wanna make sure you have the O-ring installed on both sides, otherwise it will leak. And it also comes with two rear caps. Same thing, make sure your O-rings are on both of them. And it comes with plenty of extra hose, so you can, if you needed to route this to another spot that's far away, you've got plenty of hose to hook it up to this point and just run it. And these are also going to go to 106 inch-pounds. Real quick, I'll show you how these hook up. So this is what your tip is going to look like when you get it in the kit. And you just unscrew the bottom part. You have a female side and a male side. You take your female side and you stick it in like this. And you'll see inside there's a lip. You want this hose to seat all the way against that lip, okay? It's not seated right now because I don't want to install it all the way. I just want to show you guys how to do it. And then you take the male end and you run it like this. And when you do that, this male part, you see how it's got flanges on it? Those teeth are going to connect into the rubber hose and hold it tight there, and it also presses the hose against the outside. So then you can take 2 wrenches that are made for these that won't scratch the black paint. It's like they're aluminum. That'll keep it from scratching the black paint, or you can just put a couple of rags or pieces of tape around it, and you can use normal wrenches to tighten it down. And then once you get that on, when you get to the other side, you just measure it out, cut it, and install the other one on the other side. So really easy to do. Okay, so the next thing we're going to install is the Holley high ram intake, and it comes with studs, and you'll notice that there's a long threaded part and a short threaded part. The short threaded part goes into the block, or into the head, excuse me. So just run them all down. They just go hand tight. You don't need to get pliers and tighten the crap out of them. All right, all the studs are in. Okay, so we have the studs installed. Go ahead and remove the paper towels. Locking our intake ports. So the Holley kit comes with O-rings for all the intake ports. And those just slip right on. Set it right on top, and it's installed. Alright, so quick note, I have all the nitrous jets or nozzles installed with the liquid thread sealer. And if you notice, there's nice 3 blue ones and 1 black one in the back. So as I was messing with this one, the other blue one, it got stripped and I wasn't able to reuse it, so I had to reorder another shark nozzle. Well, the same part number, when you order it, shows blue, but it comes in black. And I called the company and they said they don't have blues anymore, they only have blacks. So there's 1 black nozzle all the way in the back, so you won't be able to see it, but a little bit annoying. Okay, so I'm going to be reusing the LS3 injectors I have. I didn't want to have to buy new ones for no reason, and I already have these. I'm sure once I go up in power, I'll need to purchase bigger injectors anyway. These will become obsolete, but for now I have these in my garage, so I'm going to go ahead and use them. The problem with the LS3 injectors is they're much shorter than the stock LQ4, LQ9 injectors. So when I go to put the Holley high ram on, when I use the fuel rail, if I line up the bolt holes with the bolt holes on the fuel rail, as you can see on this one, it's way too high. It doesn't even go into the fuel rail. And even in the second one, it goes in, but just barely. It doesn't seat all the way. So in order to make these LS3 injectors work, you have to get a relocation bracket set. And this has 2 holes in it, 1 and 2 for mounting, and there's 2 holes here at different lengths. These 2 holes don't line up, but you're able to use the top one here, or the bottom one here or here. So you have plenty of room to adjust to figure out where you need to get your fuel rails to go. So it comes with a set screw. And we're just mocking this up right now for a second just to show you guys. But when you're done, you want to put a little bit of Loctite on that. And I have this done on the other side of the motor already, so I know it goes in the top hole. So when you tighten it down, you want to just line it so it's going straight up and down. Like that. And then you want to take your injectors, stick your injectors in the fuel rail, and then plop it on. I've already had this installed, so the injectors are stuck in the intake, so I'm not going to pull them back out. I'm just going to install the fuel rail. So now the fuel rail is installed, and it comes with these studs and lock nuts, these nylon lock nuts. So you'll see on the studs there's one that's solid, a solid end, and a hollow side. So you can stick an Allen wrench in there and hold it while you're locking it down. Okay, so when you tighten these studs down, you just want to go until they stop. If you go any more than that, it's going to hit the back of the intake right here and start pushing that bracket out. So right there, it stopped. I'm not putting any pressure on it. And this one stops about right there. I'll take my nylon lock nut. Run it down. What I want to do is put the Allen wrench in there and hold that stud so it doesn't rotate backwards, and keep pushing on that intake and bend that bracket. If it bends that bracket, your injectors are not going to be lined up with the fuel rail properly. Give it a good tighten. Now it's locked in place. Okay, so in the earlier video, I mentioned that we were going to mount the nitrous rails here, and the only place that I could find that had brackets was Nitrous Outlet, but they wanted to charge $75 each bracket, and I need 4 of them. So I'm a little cheap, I don't want to spend $300 on brackets, so I bought these hose clamps from Ace Hardware, really cheap. So what we're going to do is wrap it around the fuel rail, and you'll notice it doesn't get completely flush. You can't squeeze these together until they're completely flush, okay? Kind of, there you go. So how we're gonna do it is, this is the bolt that originally came for this intake. And when you screw it in, you see it's just long enough to get to the top, but not come all the way through. And so if we would have put the bracket here, it wouldn't have made it. So we had to buy bigger bolts, longer bolts, which are these. And so I can run them through the bracket with the spacer and through the top, and I've already cut the tip down so it doesn't protrude past this point. It stays flush just like the other ones, so it'll match the other ones. So I'll go ahead and stick it up there real quick and you'll see what I'm talking about. So you want to take your clamp, stick it through the bottom, take your spacer, stick a spacer in there. Run it through just like that. And there you go. I'll leave it a little bit loose so I can put my nitrous lines onto the nozzles. lines are mocked up now. Put my fuel rail back in. Okay, so I got the eBay 8AN fittings little kit, and it comes with it came with actually a whole bunch of 90-degree kits, 45-degree, straight, tube. It comes with everything. And so you just take the 8AN fitting with the O-ring, stick it on your fuel rails. This can go on the back of the engine or the front, it doesn't matter which side, whatever your, depends on the car, I guess, what you're using it on. There you go, and I have your fuel fitting. Okay, so a while back we talked about moving the NOx sensors from the 3rd gen valley area to the 4th gen side of the block area. So we got 2 new NOx sensors from Summit Racing. They're just replacement AC Delco ones, and I'll show you where they go. So this is the hole we're going to put it in right next to the oil pan, and it's already threaded for this size bolt. But if it wasn't, if it was too small, you could just drill this hole out or drill another hole out, wherever works for you. Drill the hole out, tap it and to the size of the bolt that you're using, and just throw it in there. It's really, really easy to replace them. All right, there you go. And there's one on the other side. I'll show you where that's at. And there's the one on the other side right there. You can just see it bolted right in. Didn't have to drill anything, tap anything, just fit perfect.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, hit the like button for me. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. There's only a couple of more things that we have to do left, but we're going to have to pick a vehicle to put this thing in, so let's stay tuned. It's going to be good.